Hi, and welcome to another episode of Gamestore Guardians. This is Mike. I'm going to be playing against Jason tonight, another one of our community members, and I'll be playing Shadowlands Daredevil Criminal Syndicate versus his Asgard. We roll for priority, and Jason wins. He looks at my extracts, and we pull hammers and Riot Spark over Extremis. So there's going to be 4 consoles that you could spend an energy to heal at, and there's going to be 4 hammers that you could pick up for extra damage. I'm going to be playing Criminal Syndicate tonight, Shadowlands Daredevil, MODOK, Bullseye, Killmonger, and Hood, with the team tactics cards of Shuriken Arashi, Usurp the Throne, Patch Up, Aim Lackeys, and Cruel Tutelage. Jason's going to be playing Asgard, and he's going to be playing Thor, Hela, Valkyrie, and Hulk. I was surprised to see Hulk, actually. I missed that during selection. He's going to be playing the team tactics cards of Doom Prophecy, Patch Up, Gamma Launch, Odin's Blessing, and Brace for Impact. So I just want to take this time to thank everybody who's been watching and keeping up with the tabletop simulator games that Will has been putting up. I've wanted to cut this video for quite a while now. As some of you may know, I was sick for a while and trying to take advantage of a late summer vacation. So I appreciate you guys sticking through with this, and I do have another recorded video that I'm working on, so hopefully it won't be as long for the next one. As we get set up tonight, I'm looking at where I want to play Shadowlands Daredevil to try to be across from Hulk. I placed him kind of early. I think that was probably a mistake. I'm starting to learn that you want to place your lower threat characters first, and your bigger pieces you kind of want to have more information about. So I think that placing Shadowlands Daredevil first was actually not the play. I think I should have played Bullseye first, and then Hood or MODOK. Then Killmonger you want to put across from whoever you really need to kill. And then Shadowlands Daredevil, I probably should have kept him towards the center of the map. You really want him to be able to utilize the ninjas to stand on a point and make use of his defensive capabilities a little bit better. I think Jason did a really good job here of placing Hulk on the far side to really force out the 1v1 with Shadowlands Daredevil. I think that a lot of times I tend to run them up the middle, and beating somebody up one-on-one seems like a pretty good use of him. Alright, to get started, Jason activates Hulk first, moving him twice towards that far objective and spending 1 energy to pick up a hammer. I activate Killmonger and double move him towards the closer to us objective, spending 1 energy to pick up that hammer. Jason activates Thor, moves him to his close hammer, and then moves him a second time towards Killmonger, picking up the hammer along the way. I activate Bullseye, move him slightly towards the near hammer, spend 1 to pick it up, and then stay on the back objective point. Valkyrie activates, next moving twice to the far side of the rear Extremis console. I like that he moved her across. Next I chose to activate Shadowlands Daredevil, which means that the hand ninjas move first. I run the ninjas directly into the middle of the field, not near any points for some reason. In my playback of the video, I cannot for the life of me determine why I thought this was a good play. I also chose to move Daredevil behind the size 4 taco ship, not in the range of any objective. This is not a tactical play, and I'm not exactly sure why I did it.
Mind if I tell you something?
Sure.
From here on out, it's only gonna get harder.
Jason measures and moves Hela within 4 of Killmonger, uses a Claim Soul attack, and it's going to deal 1 damage and claiming a soul for Hela. I then activate MODOK and double move him towards Thor and Hela. Hood finishes out the round by moving towards Killmonger, and then past him towards Thor. The round ends with an even score of 4-4. Mike scores 2 points from hammers and 2 points from consoles. Jason scores 2 points from hammers and 2 points from consoles as well. Watching this back, I'm not exactly sure why I'm being so aggressive with my miniature placement, but we'll see how that pans out. Jason keeps priority and activates Thor and attacks Hood with a strike, dealing 1 damage and throwing Hood into MODOK for 1 damage on Hood, and MODOK dodges, but still takes 2 damage. I elect to transform Hood into demon form. Thor's goes on to use 4 Asgard to charge towards Hood, but unfortunately just outside 1 to contest the point. Thor attacks with another strike, dealing 1 damage and a stagger. I activate Hood, who spends 1 energy to activate the Extremis console, healing for 1. And then Hood spends his first action to shake the stagger. I spend 2 energy to charge at Hela. And then I'm going to do a Razor Talons attack into Hela. And that's going to deal 2 damage with a bleed. Jason activates Hela and uses Thor's leadership to spend 1 energy to heal the bleed. She then goes on to attack Hood with a Hellforge blade, dealing 0 damage. Hela then retreats back to the console and spends 1 energy to heal 1 from the console. Jason makes great use of Thor's leadership and the Extremis consoles to gain a lot of healing. I activate MODOK and for some reason showing mercy on Thor, moving around the building to attack the not yet activated Valkyrie.
That's it. All right, time out. That's it, time out. Guys, let's all calm down, yeah? We're all worked up. Let's all just, chill the F out and talk for a second.
I just want to take a moment here to let you know that sometimes even the highest caliber and most sweaty player can get tunnel vision. Do not lose sight on the prize. I showed during this game that not only do I repeatedly attack non-activated healthy models, charging them up with loads of energy to counterattack me with, but I totally forget to contest points and try to win by scoring. My little pea-brain mind thought that I wanted to try out Shadowlands Daredevil, and that I was going to beat an Asgardian team with a Hulk splash and attrition. This concludes my PSA of don't be like Mike, try to win your games, which may not always feel like a badass while you're playing, but you'll feel like a badass when you come out with the win. Now back to your regularly scheduled broadcasting. MODOK spends 3 energy to use Doomsday Chair, targeting Valkyrie first, then Hela, dealing 3 damage to Valkyrie. During this roll, I thought the rerolled dice hit one of the other confirmed hit dice, causing it to knock over. Upon reviewing the footage, it seems like I just added another hit unnecessarily. I'm a big cheater. MODOK also goes on to deal 1 damage to Hela and ends his turn. Jason activates Valkyrie and spends 2 energy to charge her towards Hood and MODOK, making a strike attack against Hood, which goes on to deal 1 damage after reducing 2 from Hood's demon form. For her second attack, Valkyrie spends 5 energy on Warrior of Legend and Dragon Fang attack, targeting Hood, dealing 4 damage and dazing Hood. Valkyrie spends her last energy for leadership to heal the bleed effect. I next activate Killmonger, who spends 1 energy to heal 1 from the console, and attacks Thor with a Vibranium Weapons attack. This goes on to deal 3 damage. Killmonger then spends 3 energy for a Black Ops strike again on Thor, also spending 1 energy on Cruel Tutelage to add 3 to his attack dice. It's going to deal 5 damage, which makes Jason spend 3 + 1 energy on Odin's Blessing, reducing the damage down to 1, but he's still staggered after the attack. Hulk activates next, and immediately spends 2 energy on Strongest One There Is to throw a size 4 taco ship at the Hand Ninjas. They dodge 1 out of 5 damage, get knocked out, and get their souls sucked by Hela. Hulk then spends 3 energy to Gamma Leap towards the exposed Shadowlands Daredevil, and there's a strike into Daredevil. It's going to go on to deal 6 damage, dazing Daredevil. Daredevil is pushed away prior to damage. I activate Bullseye, moving him off the point to try to deal some damage to Hulk, doing a throwing knife attack, dealing 3 damage to end the round. At the end of the round, I score 3 points, 2 from hammers and 1 from consoles. Jason scores 4 points, 2 from hammers, 2 from consoles, making it 7-8 with Jason ahead by 1. Jason keeps priority. Hood and Daredevil flip to their injured side, and round 3 power phase starts with no issues. Jason activates Thor and clears a stagger for 1 energy with Thor's leadership. Thor then spends 3 energy on for Asgard, moving Thor to the other side of the console next to Killmonger, and then throws a strike at Killmonger, which goes on to deal 2 damage and a stagger. He chooses not to throw Killmonger even though he gets the wild. Thor then takes another attack at Killmonger, dealing 1 damage and throwing Killmonger away from the console. I activate Hood and spend 2 energy to charge towards Thor and the console. I then go on to spend 4 for Empowered Dark Lightning, which targets Valkyrie, dealing 0 damage and a shock with a spectacularly bad roll, as is my tradition. However, the roll will land a wild for 2 damage on Hela.
Man, I rolled 8 dice and got 2. Yeah. I'm gonna splice in the Price is Right when you get it wrong. Like bam, bam, bam,
Hood transforms back into human form, staying within the point, and then does a hex shot onto Thor, which goes on to deal 1 damage. Hood then spends 3 energy for Black Arts, healing Killmonger for 3 and giving him the bleed condition. Jason activates Valkyrie and spends 2 to charge Hood, but ends up doing a strike onto MODOK. Goes on to deal 1 damage. Valkyrie does a second strike into Hood this time, dealing 2 damage. And upon taking damage, I elect to transfer Hood back into possessed form. Valkyrie then spends 3 energy to use Patch Up on Thor, healing him for 3. MODOK is up next and spends 3 on Doomsday Chair, targeting Valkyrie first, dealing 4 damage and dazing Valkyrie. Then attacking Thor with the Whirling Blades portion, dealing 0 damage and a bleed. MODOK follows up with a Psionic Beam onto Hela, dealing 1 damage and sapping 3 energy. MODOK then spends 2 energy to throw the nearby building at Hela, dealing 3 damage and dazing Hela.
Quite the big day, sir. They're unveiling the statue depicting the other statue being made to commemorate the even bigger statue of you at the center of the city.
Hulk activates and Gamma leaps towards Daredevil, smashing him and dealing 3 damage, a stagger, and throwing him into a nearby dumpster for 1 additional damage. Hulk continues with a strike into Daredevil, dealing 2 damage and pushing Daredevil away. Hulk then adds insult to injury and throws the nearby dumpster at Daredevil. Which goes on to deal 3 damage to Daredevil, knocking him out. I activate Bullseye next and throw a knife at Hulk, dealing 0 damage. I continue my bad choices by spending 4 energy to use Pincushion on Hulk, dealing 0 damage. And a bleed with first attack, and And that's right, 0 damage with the second. Also notice how I didn't move Bullseye onto the point. So I left 2 points on the table so far with Bullseye. I then activate Killmonger, who shakes the stagger, spends 2 energy to charge at Thor, and does a Vibranium Weapons attack onto Thor. This goes on to deal 5 damage, dazing Thor, who drops his hammer. Killmonger spends 1 to pick it up. And then he goes on to spend 2 energy to use Patch Up on Hood, healing 2 damage. Killmonger takes 1 damage from the bleed and ends his turn. At the end of the round, I score 4 points, 3 from hammers and 1 from consoles. And Jason only scores 1 point, 1 from hammers and 0 from consoles due to his movement and his dazed characters. Jason keeps priority, and Valkyrie, Thor, and Hela flip. It should also be noted that I accidentally miscounted my points on the table, and it shows that I have 12. Jason starts the round by activating Thor and spending 3 on for Asgard, adjusts Thor slightly and throws a strike at Killmonger, dealing 1 damage and a stagger. Thor then spends 6 energy on God of Thunder, hitting Killmonger and Hood, dealing 3 damage to Killmonger, and 1 damage to Hood. I activate Killmonger, spending 1 energy to heal 1 damage using the Extremis console. I spend 1 activation to shake the stagger condition. I spend 3 energy to do a Black Ops strike onto Valkyrie, which goes on to deal 3 damage. Ending his turn without killing Valkyrie, he takes 1 damage from the bleed. I really needed to kill Valkyrie there. Valkyrie activates next, spending 1 energy to heal 1 damage using Thor's leadership. Valkyrie spends 3 energy for Asgardian Might, throwing Killmonger into Hood, which deals 1 damage to Hood and 1 damage to Killmonger. Killmonger dazes and drops 2 hammers. Valkyrie spends 2 energy to pick up the 2 hammers. Valkyrie then attacks Hood with a strike, dealing 1 damage. Valkyrie then spends 2 energy on Warrior of Legend and 3 energy for Dragonfang into Hood, dealing 5 damage to Hood, KOing Hood. After losing another character, I attempt to claw this game back by activating MODOK. I begin by spending 2 energy to throw the nearby car at Valkyrie, which goes on to deal 2 damage, KOing Valkyrie. MODOK spends 1 energy to pick up 1 of the hammers, and does a psionic blast onto Hela. This deals 2 damage and giving MODOK some extra energy. which he then spends 1 energy to pick up the second hammer. MODOK then throws another Psionic Blast at Hela, this one only dealing 1 damage and 1 sapped energy. MODOK then spends 2 energy to use Bow to the Will of MODOK, advancing Hela away from the point. Jason activates Hulk, who spends 3 to Gamma Leap towards Bullseye. Hulk then does a strike at Bullseye with a lot of dice, but only dealing 3 damage. Bullseye spends 2 energy on Parting Shot to run away, while also dealing 1 damage to Hulk. Hulk moves closer to the point and spends 2 energy to throw Bullseye into a nearby tree, which deals 1 damage to Bullseye, dazing Bullseye, who also drops a hammer. Hulk spends 1 energy to pick up that hammer.
Show mercy.
Bullseye.
Jason then activates Hela as she's the only model left for the round. Hela moves, hops over the point towards MODOK, and spends 1 energy to heal 1 damage with Thor's leadership. Or maybe the console? I forget. Hela then does a Hell-Forged Blade attack into MODOK, dealing 2 damage and a bleed to end the round. I scored 2 points, 2 from hammers and 0 from consoles, while I try to repair the hood ninja weapon that I broke. And Jason scores 5 points, 2 from hammers and 3 from consoles, making the total 13 to 14 with Jason ahead by 1. I take priority for the next round, and Bullseye flips. Feeling very behind, I begin by activating MODOK and attacking Hela with a Psionic Blast. This goes on to spike crazy hard as I roll 5 crits and deal 12 damage to Hela. I definitely wish that I rolled this against Hulk at this point. Hela uses 3 souls to come back to life. MODOK attempts to live the dream again, attacking Hela with the same attack, but during this attack, I spend 5 energy to reroll 5 dice and end up dealing 3 damage and sapping 1 energy. Unfortunately, this isn't enough to finish off Hela, and then MODOK will spend 2 energy to bow to the will of MODOK, moving Hela away again. This one feels big sad energy. Jason activates Thor, spends 3 energy for Asgard, and chases down MODOK, but decides to swing around and strike Killmonger on the way. This attack goes on to deal 0 damage. Thor goes on to strike into MODOK, during which MODOK spends 2 energy to reroll 2 dice. And the attack ultimately deals 1 damage to MODOK. I activate Bullseye and spend 4 energy for Pincushion, targeting Hulk, really hoping for a miracle at this point, dealing 1 damage with the first part, 1 damage with the second part, and then move Bullseye back onto the point with Hulk, and stare Hulk down for dramatic effect. Jason activates Hulk, who spends 4 energy on Hulk Smash targeting Bullseye, dealing 4 damage, KOing Bullseye like a background character. Hulk spends 3 energy to Gamma Leap towards MODOK. He then spends 2 energy to throw the nearby tree at MODOK, which deals 2 damage. Then for his second action, Hulk gets some clarity from Dr. Banner and runs back to the point. At this point of the game, I attack Thor with Killmonger, but it's a bit of a fruitless endeavor as Jason just wins at this point. We play it out, and Jason ends up winning by moving Hela and killing MODOK while staying on the point. For the final round, Jason goes on to score 4 points from hammers, 2 from consoles, and I score 1 from consoles. This was a really good game where my desire to kill got a little bit out of hand, and Jason capitalized on the triangle of points that I couldn't contest all of them. The final score at the end of the game is 14-20. Jason wins. Good game, Jason. As always, I want to give a special thanks out to Brett Eagleston for the background soundtrack. You can find his website and Twitter in the show notes below. Red Seal Gaming in Matawan, New Jersey for letting us film. Also look for information on our Discord for some upcoming tournament coverage, as next month on October 15th, Will and I will be hosting an MCP tournament at Red Seal Gaming. And special thanks to Jason for coming out on such a short notice to whoop my butt. Man, was not expecting Hulk to show up, and it completely threw me off this game. Jason did a great job. And that'll be it for another episode of Gamestore Guardians. This is Mike saying thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys again soon.